Hello, Opramia. Bishop here. I decided I was going to rerun this thing at 2x speed in order to allow everybody to have something a little bit easier to digest. So I've got here for the Shelke event, Vayne Shelke Agrias. Everybody's got an LD. Everybody's doing pretty good here with this. So we are going to get going here with this. All right, Shelke's up first. Obviously, we got to go after B. The call she has is Jack, so I got to wait on the Jack call. I'm not going to put it on him. I want to put it on A. All right, so S1, so we can get the 2, or we can get the plus versions up. So since right now, even though I've got 2 enemies, I really feel it's a single target fight. So I'm going to focus on the single target ones here. Beauty of Kurasame's debuff, it will apply to the boss, so that's why I went ahead and did it there. Now, I didn't go with the skill call because I wanted to be able to get 5 stacks of rogue, because with this, I have no intention of letting A get a turn, so I'm figuring I can stack it up as fast as I can. Now, here with this, I anticipated B getting a turn, so the reason I paralyzed here, because I didn't figure that Vayne would start getting turns before B ended up going. So this actually was a bonus in my regard. I could have left it, but I didn't. I went ahead and just as a just in case, put the paralyze on. I could have saved it for later. So once Vayne came back up here the second time, then it was going to be time to start letting him just go crazy, because I was going to start with 3 stacks of the Conqueror, and then I would be able to then go in and get the DLD. So I was able to spam a bunch of those skills. Now I did the Force of Will on purpose, because this way when I get the EX, I'm going to need to be able to activate that. All right, so Shelke and getting her free turns, because I want to make sure A gets pushed back here a little bit. So that's why I emphasize there. So now, okay, here comes Jack. So Jack debuff is going on to A. All right. So I see the EX isn't up. I go ahead. I know the EX is coming. I hit that, but I got this, so I'll have that next time. So this is where I used the generator whip to give myself a little bit of space with A. So I used it that one time, and I'm going to hang on to it for the other. So Knight's Pride, because this way when I use Agrias's EX, so I got that jump turn, so I threw the Confuse on. This is like no better time to get it on here now, just in case. So I'm debating here whether or not, so I go with Mock Wave, again, to get as many usages of the skills so that when I EX, I'm going to get them back here for the orb. All right, so I used that plus, and then I went after the EX to try to maximize everything. All right, so this is when I realized, oops, I needed to put Kurasame on there so I could get my 5 stacks. Going crazy here with Force of Will. Hitting it again. And at this point, again, I still don't see the orb, but I went ahead and did the tree for the break. Again, that's the advantage that I was getting with that. So Agrias is in good shape right now that I got both 4 and 7, so I'm kind of debating if I can get turns with Judgment Blade or with Knight's Pride. Since I got that, more Agrias turns, the better, to push that guy back with this. All right, so I'm going to start repeating some turns here with Shelke, because I'm figuring I got them. I'm going to use them, because that's how I won't use her LD until I really have to, because I was really trying to use single target stuff for when there was only the boss, and hold on to the S2 for later. So I was kind of debating here if I was going to use the LD, which I went ahead and did. All right, here comes Vayne again. So I'm kind of watching. It's like, okay, I got this kind of close. Pushing back some more, because I figure I'll get 2 or 3, just depending upon how everything goes. But I was really looking at the orb. That's where I'm kind of wanting to see what's going to happen with that. All right. Force of Will. And I see that right now I've got 3 and 10 with my Contempt buff up. So that's why I had Force of Will once more. This is going to activate or this is going to get him under 79. We're going to get the orb, and thankfully I hadn't used any of the LDs yet, so I'm in good shape. There's our 10. There's our boy B. So at this point, now I'm going to start looking into using the Delta Arts a little bit more. And I'm still kind of worried about B, so I went ahead and did the thrust there just to give me the extra turn. Did the Delta Arts. I'm just going to let the splash and the extra take care of that guy with that. So back to Optic Spindle. So it's going to give me 1. All right, so right now I've got 2 stacks of Conqueror. Get 1 here. So I was sitting there debating. It's like, what I went. So that's why I went with Mockwave there, because I could see the orb. If I went through a clean run of Vayne's Conqueror, that I'd probably be low before I got the, and I didn't want to waste any skills. So that's why I'm getting here. And it's like, okay, I'd rather use Shelke's LD buff here in order to tick the orb up. So as you see, I went with the Delta Arts on the plus version. Here comes the LD, orbs up. Starting with the EX, which I could never remember with this, whether or not this was single target or splash. I could never remember. It was like, oops, all right, that's single target only, no splash. So, but that was all right because I got the pluses and I was able to go to Delta attacks and go from there. So this is where the trick comes in here with balancing A and hitting B, because it's not so much the free turns. It's making sure B doesn't get a turn, because obviously if B gets a turn, it's going to pull A up, which kills any idea of what I had here. So I was debating here. So this is why I went after Contempt, because I realized, oh yeah, the LD buff's gone. So I was going to put that back up, get all those turns again, and hold on to that EX in order to tick it up a little bit more. So I was kind of debating if I had, do I hit B? So as you see, I went ahead and made the decision there to push B back a little bit, give me some more room there for the orb, or not the orb, for that guy. So that now I'm going to go with the EX, and that's the beauty of the EX. It's going to break both A and B, give me another turn so I can get Vayne in front of him. At this point, I'm really not focusing on B unless I'm worried about it getting a turn. So that's why I went ahead, and I didn't really think at this point B was going to die before I got it under the threshold. So that's why I went ahead and used that Quistis LD to push B back just a little bit more. And then I got the lucky paralyze. Here goes Shelke with some of her turns. So I'm going to rotate it through here. I go ahead and Delta to get the overhead back up. So I'm back up to 2. Going with the single target with the splash there, since I got the, I was trying to not use all my Delta Arts before the orb was still a little high. So I was hoping I was going to get under 59 before I brought Cloud of Darkness in, but I was wanted to make sure the orb was in a medium kind of area, because I knew I would get breaks. Unfortunately, I didn't get the under the threshold I wanted, but that's okay, because then I get another guy right here with him. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and paralyze there, or confuse there, to make sure B doesn't get a turn. So as you see, I'm kind of debating right now, and this is why I went with Ifrit, because I was like, I really don't want B to get a turn and lose that confuse just in case. So it's like, okay, time to summon, because the orb was getting tight anyway. So I wanted to make sure I could do something to tick up the orb, because thankfully Vayne, Shelke, and Agrias both helped tick the orb up. All right, so I'm kind of debating right here at this point. Do I go ahead and do the particle beam, or do I delay? So I went ahead and did the particle beam to put damage on both A and B. And so there's my orb uptick, so I don't come up on Shelke needing to use her EX at that point. All All right, so I'm getting some nice off-turn damage here from Clouded Darkness. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm debating. Right now it's all about A. So this is why I decided it's like, okay, I got 2 more turns with her. I'm going to go ahead and zero form. I've got a second zero form if I want it. And you can see B is going to die first chance he gets. So it's like, okay, it's time for him to be out of here. All right, so he was gone. I'm going to get another B here in a second. That's okay. I can handle that. So that's why I got a lot of the orb here. I got Clouded Darkness. It's like I'm going to speed turn this as much as I can to get all the extra attacks off, the off-turn damage that I can. And thankfully, Shelke was able to break B, not Clouded Darkness, so she didn't jump. So she got her turn right here. So I kind of looked at it again. It's like, could I go big time form on the boss or get the ad? And I was like, yeah, the boss can take a whole lot of hits right here. All right, so I was kind of debating here. It's like, okay, I need to start using Knight's Pride and Judgment Blade, because if I don't use one of each of those skills, then we're going to have trouble. So I went here and had her paralyzed. This was for B more than anything else. Thankfully, the Cloud of Darkness is coming to bang. All right, so here comes Vayne here. So this is where I actually, coming up, I'm going to have a mess up here with this. So I'm using all my Force of Wills. All right, so now it's like, okay, I don't have my EX, so what am I going to do? I was kind of debating what to do here at this point, so that's why I thought about going after B here with this. That's why I went with Mach Wave to get 2 stacks for the next time. And so I was able to get, since I had another turn in there, that's why I went Mach Wave and then Force of Will. So I was looking at it, it's like, I got 3 left. All right, so I went with that last Delta Arts to get the big splash. Since it's a group attack, all right, I'm down to 2. So it's like, okay, LD time. Here we go. Counterattack. So refreshed, orbs going up. Big hit on the boss. All right, and then so we got Agrias coming up. I'm going to make sure I get a Knight's Pride there. So I'm going to go with a Hallowed Bolt because I know I need to refresh my buffs there. All right, now, this was this the one I did? No, so I started going Force of Will here again. And then, like I said, I was still watching B's attempt here at this. So I was always debating here and taking time. Was I going to go A? Was I going to go B? All right, so I went here with the tree, anticipating and then getting the orb ticked up again. All right, here comes good old Shelke. Checking that again. So I went with the Delta Arts because I figured I could get twice as much damage there, even though it wasn't going to be the one I wanted with that. So. And so I got the singles up. So I got my 2 stacks of the overhead again in order to keep on rolling my turns, which is why I kept doing, even though I wasn't getting the plus, I should have went with the optic wave to get the plus back up. I was actually looking to try to, at this point I was thinking, I need to kill B also, so that's why I was going after that one so much. So I actually figured B was going to die here. So I was giving him one good shot. And I actually didn't think A was going to die, or I didn't think A was going to go under his threshold here, because I was actually thinking one of these had splash, and unfortunately it didn't. But again, it's okay with that because it wasn't going to be a real big deal for that. All right, so as you notice, I had 7 here on Force of Will because this is going to be a big deal here in just a minute. All right, so I give myself a little bit of room there. All right, so the problem here is I had Force of Will was full. I did not do that properly, so you see my orb didn't tick up. So I messed up on that. So that's why it's like, thank goodness I still had my last Divine Ruination. I was able to put that on there and uptick my orb, and that was my concern, that I wouldn't I wouldn't have that backup one for later. So I really had to watch what I was doing with this. All right, so I'm getting my freebie rotations here. 3 enemies. Delta Arts is going to do some terrific damage here with this. Optic Spindle. And here we go. Now the fun's going to start because I said to myself, okay, so I'm going to hit B. Give me a little bit of room there since I could break him and then re-break him. Get myself some extra turns here before B went because I still had that faded Molly on Agrias, but I wanted to make sure I had plenty of turns, so I focused on B and C there a little bit. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to do here with A? Because I was like, where is he? Because, of course, at this point, you can't tell where he is. So that's why I went Mach Wave here, knowing to say, okay, hey, I've got Paralyze on B, so even if I can't push him back, that's no problem. So, but I am going to go a few turns here since I got a launch. All right, so the orb's down to 5. And it's like, oh, I don't have any more Delta Arts. So that's why I went ahead and used the LD here to uptick the org one more good time. But I will admit I was a little scared with this one because it was like, ooh, I got to really be careful with this. All right, so this was the key. I figured I could use Judgment Blade to get them pushed back just a little bit more. Give me an extra little turn or a little time here for C to make sure. So as you can see, I pushed B back just a little bit more. Give me a little extra room. I felt I had room on the orb to do that. And I also had a full, Shelke was full with what she was doing. She had the plus Delta, so she's going to get big time damage on everybody. Get the AA to give her the extra turns. Single target with splash for him. Plus on the Delta. There we go. All right, so like I said, it's getting a little tight. So I started thinking to myself, like, ooh, I got to be careful here. I got to make sure I get Vayne up. But I went ahead and just did, I was going to get Delta there, figuring I'd get a break. All right, so here was the trick. It's like, okay, now I had to be careful because I had 8 and I had 6. It's like, okay, I'm good. I got 8 and I got 6. I'll be fine with the tree. Or when I use the EX to be able to tick the orb up. And then surprisingly, it did not here. I couldn't remember. No, it didn't. It didn't get it here, but I sure shooting got it here. That took care of it. I was like, oh, the orb's good, but it's like, all right, I'm gonna kill that thing. It's gone. And then here goes the last of it, where we're going to get A and get B, or B and C. So there went B. One more optic spindle to kill A, or to kill C. And there we go. So I was actually pretty pleased with myself. 58 turns. A little bit quicker. And that was the party. That was the friend unit right there. So I was able to use Ifrit the whole way. So, hey, everything worked out well. So hopefully this one's a little bit easier to digest. You don't have all the extra gameplay. Please feel free to leave a comment. I appreciate anything to improve my gameplay or my commentary. Take care. See you the next time. Bye.